Hi everyone, welcome along. I'm still in the garden, the weather is lovely, and it is the time where everything is starting to bloom and grow, and we're getting lots of lovely things to eat in the garden. And it reminded me that a lot of you love to paint fruit, juicy fruit, and it can be so perfect in a loose watercolour style. And it just so happens that in this book there is a whole amazing set of pages of these lovely loose watercolour fruits, and the focus is very much on colour blending. And I thought, why not get the book open and have a go at painting some of these together. So let's see what we need to get started. To paint loose watercolour fruit, you will need cold pressed watercolour paper, mine's 9 inches by 9 inches, brushes, pointed round, size 8, size 6, size 4. And if you want, go even larger with something like this. Colours I used: organic vermilion, alizarin crimson, green gold, sap green, Payne's grey, French ultramarine, lemon yellow, Hansa yellow medium, opera rose, permanent orange, pyrrole orange. 2 jars of water, paper towel for blotting your brushes. Grab your paints and let's get started. If you turn to page 66 of my book, you'll be able to paint with watercolour by the end of this book. You're going to find a really glorious page, it's double thread actually, of loose watercolour fruit. And it's really vibrant, it's really fun. But the book is really using it as an example of using wet colour, colour blending, and having a bit of fun with it. We don't go into a huge amount of detail on how you paint these fruits, and I thought this would be a really, really fun thing for us all to try. Now we're enjoying the summer months, we're actually getting to eat some of these fruits in a seasonal style, so why not have a go at actually getting to paint some? The key thing about painting in this style is you need to have large brushes. I've also got this size 12 connoisseur brush, as well as my 8, 6 and 4. And we're going to be sort of mixing in between them, but even with the smaller fruit and the things that you might want more detail on, always try and go for something like a size 8, because it's going to give you a much freer approach to the painting style. So we're going to begin with something nice and simple. We're going to do a half cut strawberry, and I've got some nice organic vermilion there. I'll also get some alizarin crimson in because they do have a lovely sort of deep red colour as well, and we want to make sure our colours are nicely ready to go. And the other thing is, of course, we need some green for our strawberry stalks. We get that ready as well. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this red, and I am going to paint a very sort of loose outer edge of a strawberry using quite a lot of sketchy lines there. And I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm going to come in with my brush angled low to the page, and I'm going to just draw in that colour, because half-cut strawberries do have this amazing sort of interesting white kind of herringbone pattern down the middle. And then what I'll do is I'll just take a little bit of this green, and I'm going to very carefully get it in there, and there might be a little bleed and blend, but it's also very nimble and very quickly done. So that blend, I'm not going to touch it, I'm just going to allow it to sit there. But then the last thing is, I might get a slightly stronger bit of alizarin crimson there, is I'm going to just come in around the edge and just capture the edge there. And again, you can see it's all about allowing the brush to overlap on certain places, but not others. And that is our strawberry. And the other really important thing is that your brush can form a point. Now we have got a little pesky hair there, but that's actually not a problem. All I'm worrying about is the point. What I will say is if you do find every now and then that your brush suddenly has a wayward hair, you can just snip that off at the base and it will be working absolutely fine. But the key thing is making sure it can form a point. If your brushes are struggling to form a point, then it might be time to replace them, but really, once you get them wet, if they're doing a nice point like that, then you're good to go, even if you do have a few scraggly hairs. Okay, let's try some blueberries. So I've got some French ultramarine here, but I also really think that Payne's Grey is the ultimate blueberry colour mixed in. So we'll get a bit more Payne's Grey in there. Now, of course, Payne's Grey is known to be a very dark colour, but if I can get it nice and dilute first with the French ultramarine, I'm just going to come in and just create little blueberry shapes, and I'm angling my size, I've got a size 6 brush here, quite low to the page. And then what I'm going to do is clean that off. I'm going to take some quite sort of pure Payne's Grey here, and I'm just going to find a circle around the little hole I've done there. And then to finish off, clean that brush off, and that's why we have the paper towel for blotting. I'm going to get a little bit of green gold in with my green there, and I am going to do some serrated edge leaves now. Serrated edge, always flicking down the brush and then just creating extra little edges. And notice how I'm just allowing these to just touch, but I don't want too much. And then I could just drop in a little It's rather nice, and I do want to try and get a feeling of this being a cohesive piece of everything in together. Okay, let's try a slice of a citrus fruit, so maybe an orange. So I'll just get some yellow in with my reds, and then I can create some rather nice fresh oranges. Okay, so I'm going to very carefully just allow this shape to just capture the edge of what's just come before. And then I'm going to use a bit of my yellow because the segments inside are always a lot lighter. And I'm going to sort of find the halfway point, maybe even draw a line there, and then from there it is literally as simple as that. And I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to mess around with it because we've got a very sort of edgy colour blend here going on, and I don't want to muddy it further because it's just on the edge of being acceptable. Now, what should we do next? Let's do a fig, because figs are really amazing and interesting in their colours. So I'm going to take some Imperial Purple. I'll want some Opera Rose as well. And I also want some much more sort of orangey golden tones, so we'll get those as well. I want to go back to a larger size 8 because I don't want to go too small. And just looking back, you can see how the little bits of green have just blended in, but it's all looking really nice, nothing's too muddy. So let's get that lovely bulbous shape of the fig. And you notice how I've got that nice unpainted space, giving it just a little bit of light and shade. And now I'm going to take some Opera Rose, just always following the edges and the shape, following the curves of it really. And actually I've realised I think Moonglow is going to be an absolutely amazing colour for just creating a lovely bit of depth. And I said I wanted some kind of yellowy colour. That's a rather nice sort of ochre tone. I'm going to come up and I'm just going to, there we go, because I want to have just a little connection between all these items and a little bit of gold in there, but that's always something to just place in and try and get in without too much sort of faffing around. This is probably the greatest exercise in leaving watercolour alone, because it is so hard to just let it be. Let's do something nice and simple. Let's do some cherries. So again, I'm going to just use the side of the brush to just come down in. And notice how I'm not sort of tidying up the shape too much. Might take a bit of alizarin crimson, get with the Payne's grey. I also like how your palette just starts to become a nice big sort of mush of things. And now I can just tidy those up a tiny bit. I might even want to put a tiny bit more darkness in there. And now I'll use some of this for my stalk. Still using size 8. Now let's see which way the cherries are going to go. That's looking cool. Happy with that. I'm going to try an orange segment. Just one sort of, how should we do it? We'll do it like here. So not even with the peel, just like a little sort of Zatzuma segment. Just always thinking about it coming in into the middle. And then I like to just get my brush and play around with that colour, bringing it in. And you're going to find some are going to work amazingly, some are going to be like, well, that kind of worked, I'm not sure. But it's all just fun and games, really. And it's a really good exercise to keep your brush nimble and your action loose. So now I'm going to do like an interior of a fig. So I'm going to take the half shape and again, I think that's worked. I don't think I need to do any more to it. Now, one thing I could do with a slightly smaller brush is maybe some raspberries. Always thinking about the sort of central point of the shape. It's sort of coming inwards like that. The way the stalks happen, they really curl right up. And I might do one just sort of coming in behind the fig. So I'm wondering what fruits maybe that I haven't thought of that you might want to paint and put into this. We could do all sorts of lovely sort of vibrant colours. The lovely thing about fruit is you open it up and you see all these incredible sort of repetitive patterns or sort of lovely perfect round shapes. So what if I did an actual sort of open orange? So finding the centre again and just sort of finding those loose scribbly triangles with nice wet colours, using lots of unpainted space. It doesn't matter if you're squeezing in your last little bit, but I will just put in. And I think it's these wobbles that give it the joy, give it the delight when you look at it. So don't fret that it's not perfect. Oh, it doesn't really look right. It looks exactly as it should do. What I like is we've sort of inadvertently created like a nice border coming down over the page. Oh, now I'm using a brush that's too small. You could turn this into a really cool card design, I think. And the lovely thing is if you sort of feel like, well, this is all very well, but I don't feel that sort of confident with my watercolour painting, or the whole point of You Will Be Able to Paint with Watercolour by the end of this book is that I sort of talk you through all the different stages of watercolour painting, from the absolute basics, just using the primary colours, through to much more sort of involved and complex and detailed tutorials, all the while having a lot of fun in the process. Because it's meant to be about having fun, isn't it? So I hope you've enjoyed this little foray into some loose watercolour fruit. Things to remember is using large brushes. In the end, I never did use that one, but these ones worked really nicely. But there was definitely a moment where I was using these and I thought, no, not large enough, need to get back to this one. Using your colours, lovely and dilute, making sure they're sort of woken up and ready to go in the palette. And then all the different ways that you can use unpainted space to create these gorgeous bits of fruit. I think everything here shows very clearly what it is, and yet it's so loose. So just keep that in mind next time you paint. And of course, if you want to get yourself a copy of this, you can find signed copies exclusively in my webshop, dewintonpaperco.com, and on Etsy. So I will say thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll speak to you very soon, but don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It really helps us out. And we'll see you again next time.